One of the weakest aspects of my writing, one of my just general areas, I think that there needs to be improvement, is in my ability to come up with names. This is both for character names as well as the names of really, book titles, locations, scenery, any kind of proper nouns. I have a difficult time coming up with a name. It's always been that way. I don't necessarily know why that is. And honestly, for a very, very long time, I never really cared. It never really bothered me that that I had a difficult time coming up with, with names of characters and places, or even book titles. Because in my mind, I was thinking, well, it focus on the pros, right? Focus on mastering the craft, focus on getting down descriptions, pacing, timing, dialogue. Focus on all that instead. And then you'll eventually come up with a name, right? Like it's simply a name. A character name doesn't really matter a whole lot. People care about what the character does, not necessarily what they're named. Most characters, are generally forgettable in most tales. And if you come up with an iconic character, it's probably not going to be because of the name of the character, but because of something that they do. So it doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. Develop the skill of prose instead. But especially with this project coming to an end, I'm starting to see the weakness that I had there. The glaring weakness of the proper names, and not being able to come up with something that really resonates as far as name value goes. Obviously, I'm going into getting ready for my last draft. I'm going into that last draft, getting ready to query afterwards, and I've been spent today researching a name for the novel. I've been using a good working title. I like the working title, to be honest. I think it's good, but it doesn't capture the soul of the story. It doesn't capture the essence of what the story is about, and so I've had to kind of go through and come up with something else. And so what you're seeing on screen here is just me basically brainstorming ideas for the story, just names for the story title. It's challenging for me. It's a very, very challenging thing. I have a hard time, like I said, with that. I think a lot of people probably look at the scenario and probably think it's kind of fun though. Like I imagine there's a lot of people that probably look at this and go, "Oh, this is fun. This is you're you're having a difficult time right now with coming up with the name of your book. That's one of my favorite parts, of the process, coming up with a name, right? Like coming up with character names. I think for a lot of people as well, tends to be probably some of the funner parts of the book process, right? You get to come up with this cool name for a character, and they feel really real, and they feel like your character because, because it's got that name now. For me, it's always been challenging. It's a skill I don't necessarily have, so what I do a lot is I do a lot of brainstorming. I look at potentially other titles of works. I try to do something very formulaic, which is what you're seeing on screen here, is me trying to do sort of a formulaic title where I was doing adjective noun or gerund noun this morning, just kind of brainstorming certain ideas that kind of encapsulate what the story basically is about. Nothing too fruitful as of today. I think it's going to take a couple days, but I think what I'm going to be doing here, probably for at least the rest of this week, is probably just going through and trying to come up with names, just coming up with the names of the story, and also coming up basically with maybe some better names for my characters. I got a couple characters that I'm looking to potentially change up their name, just because, again, it's what I have now. I think for names is fine. I don't necessarily hate the names, but I think they could be better. I think they could stand out. I think they could be a bit more iconic in a way. And so that's what's taking up most of my day, and that's gonna be what I'm gonna be doing going forward here. So with that, I will be signing off again today. I call this write every day, this vlog write every day, because I'm always working on my project, on some aspect of the project. Doesn't necessarily feel so much right now like I'm actually physically writing each day, but unfortunately, there are parts of the writing process, like this part, where yeah, you're not doing any direct writing, like you're not doing any kind of direct prose on the page, but it needs to get done. Your book needs characters. Your book needs a title. So while yes, I'm not exactly hammering out prose today. These are elements of the story that need to be done. These are elements of the book that need to be just taken care of. So with that, I'll be spending the next couple of days, I guess, going through this sort of torture until I come at least a good, at least a better working title. If not my official title, at least a better working title. But yeah, so with that, I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, happy writing.